Hello and welcome to Awaz News. I'm Simona Kotoni and I'll be taking you through big news across Canada. Canada sending 4 pieces of field artillery to Ukraine as it braces for renewed Russian attack. Government eases some COVID-19 travel measures but not masking on the plane. Hockey world reacts to the death of Guy Lafleur. Toronto Mayor has no plans to get involved in Ontario election campaign. Ontario to extend mask mandate in higher risk setting until at least June 11th. Ontario, NDP and Liberals make tree planting election promises. Southern Chief plans $130 million redevelopment of the Bay as a symbol of reconciliation. Ottawa will let international graduates stay in Canada another 18 months. Stamkos franchisee record-setting night powers Lightning to blow out victory over Maple Leafs. Raptors forward Scotty Barnes remained doubtful for Game 4 against Sixers. So those were the headlines. Now let's jump right into the details. Canada is expected to send 4 of its relatively new M777 howitzers to Ukraine to help it face down a renewed Russian offensive from the east. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced the plan to ship heavy artillery earlier this week but offered no details on what the Canadian military would be donating. Canada recently shipped a portion of its aging stock of Carl Gustaf anti-tank weapons to Ukraine, and the Liberal government has yet to announce a plan to replenish that stock with modern weapons. The government announced public health measures will be eased for some eligible travelers starting Monday, the April 25th. Fully vaccinated travelers will no longer be required to provide a quarantine plan upon entry, and unvaccinated or partially vaccinated children aged 5 to 11 who are accompanied by a fully vaccinated parent or guardian will no longer have to undergo a COVID-19 test for entry to Canada. Several other measures will also be eliminated next week. The government will no longer require fully vaccinated travelers to mask in public spaces for 14 days following arrival or maintain a list of close contacts and location visited. But while the government is pulling on some measures, it stands firm on others, such as mandatory masking on planes and trains. The death of Hall of Famer and Montreal Canadian legend Guy Lafleur at age 70 sent ripples throughout the hockey world. The number 1 pick in the 1971 NHL draft, Lafleur registered 518 goals and 728 assists in 14 seasons with Montreal. With the flashy forward leading the way, the Canadians won it all in 1973 and then 4 more times from 1976 to 1979. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, a noted Canadian fan, said Lafleur was unlikely anyone else on the ice. Mayor John Tory says he has no plans to weigh in the upcoming provincial election and is confident that he will be able to work with whichever party forms government to get things done for the people of Toronto. Tory served as the leader of Ontario Progressive Conservative Party from 2004 until 2009, but he has consistently abstained from partisan politics since being elected mayor. During the last provincial election, Tory did meet the leaders of the major parties in the run-up to the election to discuss issues of importance to Toronto. However, it is unclear if he will do so this time around. Ontario will be extending mask mandate in select higher-risk indoor settings for at least another month. Mandatory masking in these settings, including long-term care homes, hospitals, and transit, was set to expire on April 27th, but the government announced today that it was maintaining the mandates until at least June 11th, amid a 6th wave of the pandemic. Other settings where masking will continue to be mandatory includes retirement homes, doctors' offices, shelters, congregate care setting that will provide care and services to medically and socially vulnerable individuals. Ontario's New Democrats and Liberals are making Earth Day promises to plant trees if their parties are elected to form government in June. The NDP says it will establish a youth climate corps that will help the party meet its plan to plant 1 billion trees by 2030. The Liberals are promising to plant 800 million trees over 8 years. The Hudson's Bay Corporation, which facilitated the colonization of Western Canada 352 years ago, is about to transfer its former flagship department store in downtown Winnipeg to Indigenous ownership. This morning, the Bay will hand over its 6-story building at the corner of Portage Avenue and Memorial Boulevard to the Southern Chiefs Organization, which represents 34 Anishinaabe and Dakota nations in southern Manitoba. The SCO plans to spend $130 million in the coming years transforming the former Bay building into a mixed-use development. Plans for the project include 300 affordable housing units for the members of the Southern First Nation, 2 restaurants, a public atrium, a rooftop garden, a museum, and an art gallery. Immigration Minister Sean Fraser said today that beginning this summer, graduates with the work permits that expire in 2022 will qualify for an extension of up to 18 months. The minister said details about the expedited processes have not been finalized and are expected to be released in the coming weeks. Fraser is also reopening express entry draws in July for people looking to become permanent residents. During the pandemic, the government paused the application for programs such as Canadian Express Class and Federal Skilled Worker and the Federal Skilled Trade classes to work through a backlog. Steven Stamkos scored his 34th goal of the season and became Tampa Bay's all-time scoring leader as the Lightning beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 8-1 last night in Tampa, Florida. Stamkos, the first overall pick in 2008 draft, fired a one-timer from the left circle off a feed from Kucherov for this record-breaking 954th point of his career. Barnes suffered a sprained left ankle in Toronto's opening game of their best-of-7 playoff series against the Sixers when Philly big man Joel Embiid stepped on his foot. Raptors coach Nick Nurse says he participated in parts of practice on Friday and he's not ruling out the possibility he may play. The Raptors face elimination on Saturday, trailing Philadelphia 3-0. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Simone Cutoni, and I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same channel. Adios.